Hello everybody, good evening. This is Sandeep Sharma from Kavil Vano. Welcome to all of you. So this is a webinar which will be giving you the tips for presenting your topic for the project. So everybody, most of you would be in your 7th semester and all of you would have to submit your project topic to the HOD or maybe the internal examiner or the external examiner. So to today we also have Professor Damodar who would be enlightening us with his tips for presenting the project topic. So Professor Damodar, as all of you know, Professor Damodar is a BE from Walchand College and he is also an ME from Thapad University and he is currently the HOD of PR Harne College. So Professor Damodar.
Yes, thanks, Sandeep. Thanks. So, hello, friends. Good evening. Mother Pandey. First of all, thanks to Sandeep to provide me the opportunity to present this stuff to you. Here, what I would be talking about the entire session would be divided into two. The modules. One is the IT and modern day project management and how we are going to present it for this end semester exam. So if we talk about, are you able to see my screen? Hello? Sandeep? Hello?
Yes, definitely. Please go ahead.
Yeah. If you talk about the IT and modern day project management, and this is the which I would like to put it before we start it on the project management, the overall the concept of the project which you are already undergone to entire one semester. When during the 1940s, when the first electronic computer were developed, during those days also there was a project management. And if you see the picture on the slides, itself will give you the brief idea about how we have progressed through the various technology as it is being evolved since 1940 to till date. And now we are in the era, if you talk about 1950s, we were in the era of EDP, which is known as the electronic data processing era. Somewhere from 1950s to 1970s, which is called as the EDP era. And during those days also, the projects, various and very large projects have been completed during those era also. In 1980s, the PCs era, 1970 to 1980s is the PC era. Then after that, we come across the 1990s to 2000, where we talk about the network era. And after that, now 2010 onwards, what we call it as the globalization. During all those, the 1940s to 2010, we find that the technology has been evolved. The basic things in the IT management, what now we are talking about IT, those days also we were doing the project management. The basic concepts have not been changed. What is the change? Change is only the technology. And if you talk about the PMBOK guide definition, as you must be knowing about the project management, what would be definition when we talk about the term, the project management, which is the application of the knowledge, skill, tools, technique to project activities to meet the project requirement. The managing a project includes identifying the requirements, then the establishing clear and achievable objectives, then the balancing the competition for the quality, scope, time, and cost, and the final one is the adapting the solution plan to the different concerns and expectations of the various stakeholders. When I'm talking about with respect to risk management, as per the PMBOK, the book, first thing what we talk about or what we need to know about identifying the requirement, which all of you will have already completed to the entire this one semester project. Then you must have, by this time, you must have the establishing the clear and achievable objective for your project. Establish clear and achievable objectives for your project. The next one is the balancing the competing demand for the quality. You must have considered the quality aspect, quality parameter for your project deliveries, as well as you must have defined the scope, then what could be the timeline, and as you are aware, this time is completed 2 semesters and 1 semester is already gone, which is the entire the details I will discuss. What we are going to consider is the project management is nothing but the quality, scope, time, and cost. The final one is adapting the specification. This talks about the implementation plan, the approaches which you are going to consider for completing your project. And what about the project? When I'm talking about the project is nothing but a temporary endeavor, which is to be, when I'm talking about the project, it should be a unique product. Unique means it is only the product which you are going to develop, or the innovative technique which you are going to create during your project, which results gives you the unique product as well as the service as the result. This is what the project. When about the context of the project management, what the project attributes. One is time frame. Time frame is very important as far as the project activities are concerned. Then the purpose of the carrying out this project, ownership, who owns the project, the resources required for completing the projects, the roles of the different peoples or team members within the project. Is one of the major role is the project manager role. Some of you might have already gone through this role. Would be leading student in your group, would be performing the role as a project manager. Then your project sponsor, if your project is already industry-based project and it is being provided by the industry, those are considered to be the sponsor for the project. Then that is the domain and technicals. These are the roles of the project, the different people. Then we talk about the risk and assumption when we are carrying out the project, for mitigating the risk and what are the assumptions for the same we need to consider. Then interdependent tasks, the progressive elaboration as well as the steps and increments. Plan organization change. This is very important when you are doing the projects. Operate in environments larger than the project itself. Generally, the project, as you might be facing lot of challenges during the project, and that is what we call it as the environmental changes during the project phase execution. What is the triple constant? When we talk about the project management, one of the things which we need to look at out, what would be the constraint of the project? The constraint would be the scope, the constraint would be schedule, the constraint would be the budget. And considering these things, the scope, schedule, and budget, we need to exercise, we need to complete the project with ensuring that we will complete the project goal and as per the commitment given by the to the stakeholders. This is what the triple constraint. Now, if you talk about the generic project life cycle, the project life cycle, which is already, you might have gone through this entire the project life cycle, which is talking about the defining the project goal, plan projects, execute project plan, close projects, evaluate. So this is a generic project life cycle plan which start with defining a project goal. Then once we define project goal, we need to go for the planning the projects. Then once our plan is ready, we need to prepare for the project plan, how you want to execute your project. And once entire thing has been implemented, we need to officially close the project. And normally what the assumption is that once the project, everything is completed. It is not the thing. We need to evaluate the project for its success against the objective which you have considered at the beginning for initiation of this project, and that is nothing but the evaluate project phase. So once you evaluate with your positive as well as the negative, the remarks on that project, what is the learning, that completes your entire project life cycle. Then we talk about the SDLC. We've gone through the entire SDLC process. We're doing the planning, analysis, then we will be doing the design. Post design will be implementing the project, and after that internal and support. Normally what we talk about the PDCA cycle. The PDCA talks about plan, do, check. So this is where we are talking about the SDLC life cycle. Most of you have already gone through this. During the up to 6th semester, you might have studied those software and you have studied the SDLC cycle. This is just to recap the thing. Most of you also aware of this waterfall model, which is talking about the defining the requirement, design, build, test, implement, and maintenance. This is what the entire waterfall model. And the main thing with respect to the project, the reporting, now we are at the end of the semester, and every university has already have given the format for how we are going to present this to the internal as well as the external examiners at the time of completing internal for the submission and external for the external submission. When we talk about the how I can prepare my presentation effectively, so this is what the overall guideline which is already circulated by Mumbai University, which I put it here to explain you what you need to include in your project and in your presentation. So first thing is the abstract. The abstract talk about what you are going to do, background, why you are going to select, what is the background about the project, and how you are going to take it that as a one challenge and one the project. We talked about the abstract. Then introduction. Here, in case of introduction, what we are going to do is we need to define clearly what is the current system being used, or what is the process currently followed, and what is the lacuna in the existing system. And once you understand the current lacuna, then you're looking for improvement, which talks about how do I improve the existing process? How do I improve the existing project? and that is what the aim and objective of for your project. So while preparing your presentation, you need to trace down the first 2 points as a one slide talking about the abstract and introduction. When the student needs to project to their internal the submission as well as the external, we need to, our presentation need to be very nice. I'm not talking about you should have the 50 pages for the presentation. What is the matters is how you are going to effectively present your project to a internal or external guide, the examiner. So you should be very precise on selecting the slides. The slide, it talks about the abstract and introduction, where you are going to give the brief about your project, why you have selected that project, what is the current process followed in that, and how it triggers you to select these projects. So it completes one slide for the abstract and introduction. Then the next slide, it talks about the aim and objective. The aim and objective in different, we need to very much clear about what is my aim of my project and what is the clear objective coming out of doing that project. So this next slide which you are going to prepare must include the aims and objectives. Next slide, you can prepare on the literature survey. You may be referring the IEEE magazine or the papers or some the product which you might have gone through or aware of those products, knowing the lacuna in those product or services. And that is what the literature survey. So it talks about how much depth you have studied this project and what is you are going to take it out from that literature survey. So this is a slide which you can easily prepare for your presentation. Next one, which you need the existing system. Does it have any existing system which provides similar kind of the features? If it is there, then how your project will brings the value out to the people or to whom you are going to present it. The existing system, you can have the existing system block diagram. You can show what does existing system, how it is working, what is the current, the process which it follows, and what is the opportunity which you are finding out in the existing system which has helped you or which has triggered you to take this new project. So this slide, you can have one slide for literature survey as well as the existing. You decide how many slides you want to do it, but normally the literature survey you can put the references, and the existing system you can have the existing system in brief, what that system is providing. Then the third slide which you can prepare on the problem statement. This is very important as far as the statement of the problem is concerned about your project. You need to be clearly defining your problem, project problem. And that is what it should be precise, it should be specific, and it gives the statement should be result oriented. By doing X activities, I am going to complete this one. So that should include in your problem statement. Then next comes about, you can talk about the scope of this project. This scope defines what would be the minimum boundaries as well as the maximum boundaries of this project. So in terms of the scope, you need to define what what are the different features which you are bringing it to your projects or through your project. Then what is included in your project as a scope and what is not included in your scope, you need to be clearly define it very clearly, what is included in your scope and what is not included in your scope. Then next, the slide you can prepare on the proposed systems. Here in the proposed system, you need to provide the DFDs of your projects, which you might have by this time might have prepared for your project, which talks about the air flow, how the project flow is going. Maybe it is a modular one, maybe it is phased manner. You need to clearly define your proposed system, because this is the part of the design consideration of the project management, and you need to be very clear on those. And the symbols used in the design, you need to follow those symbols as per the software engineering, the guidelines which you might have studied during your 6th semester or 5th semester. In the proposed system, you are also going to have the methodology which operates to solve your problem. Since you are already defined your problem very clearly, you need to define the methodology to the solution for your problem. So this methodology, you can have the workflows, you can have your data flow diagram, which clearly talks about and which clearly visible to the examiner as well as your guide, that this methodology is easily he can understood. Next slide, you can say analysis. What are the different analysis which you have gone through it during the project cycle? What are any result which you come out? You can display those results. Any screen which you might have prepared by this time, you can have that screenshot and PPT for those. You can display to the examiner that you have prepared this thing and this is the outcome of your project as one screenshot, or maybe you can show the more than one the screenshot also. That is okay. Then next thing about the details of hardware and software, as you are the computer science student, and you must aware about what would be the sizing requirement for your project in terms of hardware and in terms of software. I will not be telling details about what you need to include or what you should not include. I would be specifically advising you, whatever you are exactly doing it, you need to include it there. You cannot be just wait that I am going to use the Linux system. It cannot be. You need to be about the hardware. You need to be very specific about the software. If I am talking about the hardware, I need to mention what kind of hardware I am using. You cannot write a PC configuration with a standard configuration. Sorry, it cannot be like that. You need to be very specific on the hardware sizing as well as the software, the platform which you are going to use it with version. You need to be clear on that. Then design detail. Here also you can show the design details, all the details, all the flow diagrams. You can show it, which is not possible or you are not shown in the proposed system. That is the slide. You can show the design details also. Then what is important to the examiner at the first semester is how much, this is the entire one semester which you people have invested in the project, finding on the literature survey, then any similar kind of system which is currently available, finding out the lacuna or improvement possibility in the existing system. Those details, that is, you have included in your proposed system as well as in your existing system slide. So what is expected at the last is the implementation plan for your next semester. So you can give the high level implementation plan, and not only the date wise, what I would suggest, you can prepare deliverables of that modules. If you are talking about 3 modules, I'm going to deliver first module by January. I'm going to deliver second module by, I'm giving one example. that I'm going to deliver second module by February, and by March I'm going to deliver final module. This is a way consideration. When you are talking about the implementation plan, you should have the clear on the implementation, which is the deliverables. This is the overall the report format as well as the presentation format which is required and expected by the examiner. Here, if you have prepared the screens or if you have prepared which can be shared with the examiner, you can show it. At the same time, if you have created some the code, you can also share it with the source code. If the examiner asks, you can present it to the examiner. But normally the examiners are not looking at the source code. That is the past experience which talks, which I am going through it. The examiner does ask about the source code, but in case if it required, you should have those source codes ready with you. So this is overall about how you are going to present, how you are going to prepare, and how you are going to deliver the entire scenario. This maximum you can spare half an hour for the presentation, and the result side you can spare another the half an hour, which complies an entire 1 hour. That would be okay, but I suggest on this one. So with this, I close the entire discussion. If you have any to send me any queries so that I can answer you, and also I have the contact with the Sandeep. You can get my contacts from Sandeep, and we can have the further discussion if required.
Sure,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank you,
Sandeep.
Thank you so much, Damodar sir, for all the feedback, for all the support. So I would definitely ask all the students to send me any questions which they have. I would pass all the questions to you.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much, students, for listening to this.
Sandeep, can we take this question?
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. Can you please repeat?
Can any question asked? Can any student ask the questions?
They can ask questions, sir. Currently, they have. We only have 6 viewers currently. So, 1 second, sir.
Only 6 students have attended.
Yes, only 6 are currently seeing our particular webinar, and so I would request all of them, in the interest of time as well. In the interest of time, I would request each and everybody, whoever has listened or whoever will see this video, because this video will be recorded and it will be saved, and I would give the link of this particular video to each and every student on the Schoology platform. So if any student has any questions, he can at any point of time send me an email at sandeep.sharma@kabilbano.com, or he can mail me on Schoology platform as well with his questions, and I would forward all the questions to Damodar sir, and Damodar sir would be really happy to help the students with the answers. So thank you so much everybody for listening to this particular webinar, and thank you again Damodar sir for taking out your valuable time for sharing half an hour, 40 minutes with the students. This was really helpful for them. Thank you so much everybody. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.